to see if anything develops. So that's what we're doing there. Let me go back to radar, though, because we've got these tornado warnings that are just now coming into Region 8. If you notice, I wasn't watching as this came together. Are these two cells kind of merging together?
I think a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's what's happening.
So these cells are merging together. You've got a little hook down on the bottom end of this. If you look at the wind within this, that's actually not where the greatest rotation is. It's right through here. Let me look back at the radar. Just a second. Okay, so it's right through here. That's a weird looking image on radar because I believe they are merging together. But here's the strongest area of rotation. But we'll have to watch that entire area just a bit as that kind of evolves into whatever it's going to try to do. Let me animate this to kind of give you an idea of the movement of it because you can clearly see the rotation. You see that? It's coming in from the south, almost due north with a little bit of a hint to the east. So that's going to be coming in to the Mountain View area here shortly. Let me stop this and we will put a storm track on it. This is moving to kind of the north-northeast. What speed?
They're saying they're moving to the north at 60 miles per hour. This expires at 6:15. Yep. They're saying that this was located over Fairfield Bay.
Yeah.
And that's what they're watching on this right now. It's just radar indicated right now. We don't have any confirmation that this is on the ground. We're also very far away from the radar, so it'd be pretty hard to get that without eyes on it.
All right, so what we're going to do, you said moving to the, it's going to move to the north-northeast,
Yeah.
60 miles per hour. So I had to
60.
kind of zoom out just a little bit, kind of moving at that trajectory. So let's go have it into the Turkey Creek area at 6:02, Mountain View at 6:10. So you've got 15 minutes, Mountain View, to take cover on this. 15 minutes. That rotation has been hanging out for a little bit, and these cells are kind of merging together. So this is going to be an interesting storm to watch. Sillamore community at about 6:15, Melbourne 6:27. If it holds together, it's going to continue moving in that direction. Should be into the Oxford area at about 6:37. Now, some of those places that I'm telling you, not under a tornado warning right now, I'm projecting out even farther if this all holds together. So that's the storm of the hour right now. Once again, times of arrival right here. If you see your community or if you live anywhere near this community, these are your times of arrival for a tornado warning that is coming in. Go back to radar for just a second and we'll animate this, and you can see another issue that we're kind of having is all of this heavy rain is moving north and just a little bit to the east, and this is going to be raining heavily across some areas that have already seen a ton of rain and continuing to see more. We've been giving you the heads up, the first alert for the Spring River for a couple of days now. This is some really heavy rain that's going to be coming in, and it's going to be falling into some areas that's going to make the Spring River rise. So tonight into tomorrow, we're going to find ourselves with some flooding issues also. Let's widen back out, excuse me, and kind of slide over this direction. And you can see there's not a whole lot down to the southwest. So that's, if you remember the other day, we were kind of watching storms that were coming in from the southwest. That hasn't materialized. That's great news for a lot of people. So far, so good. We haven't seen a whole lot through here. We had one storm that kind of went up. That's the one that did get the tornado warning in Randolph County, put down some large hail, and it still continues to put down some hail up just to the kind of east and northeast of Donovan. But that has been really about the only cell that kind of came out of that. Like I said a while ago, meteorologist Jace Passmore is out in the George Kell Storm Tracker just to the north of Newport, sitting right there. Jace, you're watching those storms to the west also, but what about anything developing out ahead of it? That's kind of what you're hanging out for. What are you seeing?
Yeah, we're under a very heavy cloud deck, so we're still sitting in the 80s, but we're losing out on a lot of that sunshine. I've been watching the instability is kind of getting pinched off further down towards the south, which is good news. And we're also missing out on what we call lift this far east, so we need something to kind of lift those storms up and kind of get them going, but that is still hanging back in the parts of western Arkansas that's kind of giving those storms that extra lift out there near Heber Springs and the Mount Olive area up towards Calico Rock. I'm also watching these storms back in far southwestern Arkansas near the Nashville area just north of Texarkana. If those hold together, those will be moving in as we go towards probably closer to K8 News at 10. Those are probably still 3 or 4 hours out. But right now I'm watching satellite. We're kind of under this cloud deck. These storms are so large that the anvil of these storms are starting to overspread us here in Tuckerman and Newport.
Okay, appreciate that update. Once again, meteorologist Jace Passmore, he is out chasing this. That's him, this green dot here. He's watching to the west, but he's really sitting there waiting to see if anything develops out ahead of that. So we're going to continue with the tornado warning there for about 17 more minutes there for the Mountain View area.
Yeah, we're keeping an eye on that rotation that is south of Mountain View right now, and that will continue to move up towards Mountain View in just a little bit. And some of that rotation, it looks like it's been trying to pick back up, Christina, especially just south of Mountain View. So let's go ahead and zoom back down into, I put on the clouds, excuse me, let me put it back on the radar. And then we'll zoom down here into southern Stone County. This is moving out of Cleburne and Van Buren counties. And the area of rotation, I think, is really starting to come into that the back storm, because what we were watching was that front storm was being ingested into the storm that was off towards the west, and now we're starting to see that circulation just to the south of Fox there. That's Mountain View, so we're still a few miles just to the southwest of Mountain View. But if you're in Mountain View, you need to be in your tornado safe spot right now. The area of rotation is on what's that road that runs from Fox back over towards Heber Springs? I think that.
Trying to zoom in to see if I can get a name on it. I'm seeing a lot of other smaller roads near there. This is very close to the Rushing community. It's right on top of there. I'm seeing a Highway 263 and a Junction Road, a Jim Berry Lane, but I can't find the name of that larger road there. I will say this rotation seems to be tightening, but we're also several 100 miles away from the radar at this point, and the National Weather Service in Memphis is pointing out that a lot of these storms have a strong mid-level rotation, but there's not a lot going on at the surface. So we're going to have to watch this closely because it's tightening at this level, but the question is it tightening closer to the surface as well?
Yeah, I can see that. It's looking for me, the Memphis or Little Rock or Springfield, we're a good 100 miles away from Little Rock with this storm, but we still have to take this seriously. There's the Fox community, there's Turkey Creek community. The area rotation is right in here, so we're looking. There's Rushing, there's Parma down to the south, Harold Harfair Street down near Rushing. That's a hard one to say. That's what we're looking at right there with this area of rotation. We'll zoom out and we'll track this into Mountain View, because that's going to be the next town that moves into. How fast is it going? About 60, you said?
60. To the north, they're saying, but it does have a little bit of an easterly component too.
Yeah, we'll go
Yes.
something like this. It's going to be close to 60 right there. So Mountain View at 6:11. It's 6:01 right now, so you got a little less than 10 minutes to get into your tornado safe spot in Mountain View. Sycamore about 6:16. If this holds together, it moves into Izard County, and this moves towards Melbourne at 6:28, 6:37 in Oxford, and 6:42. If this holds together, it makes it up to Horseshoe Bend up in northern parts of Izard County. No tornado warning for Melbourne and Oxford and Horseshoe Bend, but we still have the area rotation, that tornado warning down to the south there for Stone County, with this area of rotation that continues to rotate just south of Mountain View, and really hard to see where that rotation is this far away from the radar. But right here in this area, there's Mountain View. That's the highway that goes from Mountain View back down towards Fox, and it's right along there. We have very hilly area, a lot of trees out here, so you're not really going to be able to see this if there is a tornado out there. And probably going to be too hard to see anything on debris this far away from the radar.
Yeah, I haven't been picking up on anything. There's also just a lot of rain in that area right now too, so it's not going to be something that you could really get a good eye on anyway. So we never really want you to go outside and try to see these things. When we have a tornado warning, we want you to go inside of your safe space. Below ground is best, but if you don't have that, an interior room, the lowest level of your home, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, especially if you're in Turkey Creek right now.
So yeah, that's where we're seeing that area of rotation. Turkey Creek, that's Hanover Road, and that continues to move off towards the north and east, and this is moving at a pretty quick clip towards Mountain View. So if you're in Mountain View, or if you know anybody that's around Mountain View, it's Friday night. I know it's still early in the season, but there might be some people who may be trying to spend an early spring weekend over in Mountain View. So make sure that they know that there's a tornado warning in effect for their area. The area of rotation is still right there.
It's now, wait, no, sorry. I thought I saw something. I did not see anything. We are still watching this. This is the only storm that we're really paying attention to right now, but we should also probably go ahead and look up at Ripley County and Butler County because there's a new tornado warning there as well.
All righty, a new tornado warning up for Ripley and Butler County. And that's going to be for that storm that had that tornado warning just a little bit ago in Randolph County. So this is what we're looking at. Area of possible rotation east of Doniphan. Another one near Neelyville, kind of looks like just right in that area.
We're getting reports that a funnel was spotted 2 miles southwest of Naylor by a spotter.
So 2 miles southwest of Naylor, that was probably, as this storm was just a little bit south of Naylor, the area of rotation is now north of Naylor. There's V Highway, there's B Highway, and there is a Highway 67 that runs right there. So we're looking at, and there's Naylor, so probably around B3, County Road B3 in Ripley County, County Road B3AA, and now it's moving quickly, probably now crossing over into Butler County. There's Parks, there's Taft. They're north of Neelyville, so we're looking at Butler County Road 340, Butler County Road 352 in that area. So if you're now in eastern parts of Ripley County, around Naylor and to the north from Neelyville to the north in Butler County, you need to be in your tornado safe spot and go ahead and Poplar Bluff and go ahead and get to your tornado safe spot as well. And we have this area too that we have to watch. That's going to be near Fair Dealing. That's very messy looking, but
yeah, it's not the cleanest storm, but we are watching that storm right now, only moving to the northeast at 30 miles an hour, so it's moving about half as quickly as the storm over in Stone County right now.
All right, let's go do a quick track on this, and we'll go back down to Stone County. This is going to come into Poplar Bluff here in the next little bit, so we'll do a quick track on, really I think we'll do it from where both of these areas of rotation are, and track this 30 miles per hour into the northeast. So this will be, it's clipping Neelyville right now, Angus at 613, Lone Hill 616, Poplar Bluff at 632. So you have a little bit of time, and Poplar Bluff is 6:06 right now. So you got about 25 minutes before this starts to move into downtown Poplar Bluff. You have a lot of residential, and you have Poplar Bluff High School out here on the west side of town. So about 5 minutes before it gets to downtown Poplar Bluff, so about 6:25 coming into the west side of Poplar Bluff, and that will move back up towards Ash Hill and eventually cross over into parts of Stoddard County. But we have that tornado warning for eastern Ripley County, southwestern parts of Butler County, and then we have another tornado warning that's in effect for Stone County for an area of rotation that's near Mountain View now.
And that looks like it's still maintaining itself pretty well. There's still a pretty tight rotation there, at least at the mid-level of the storm.
So I want everybody in Mountain View right now back towards the north. So you go north of Mountain View, you get closer to Blanchard Springs and the Caverns, back towards the Sylamore community, and back out, getting close to Mount Olive. 56 sits about right here. The caverns are just to the east of that. And then there's the White River. And that's going to cross over into Izard County. There's a small slither of Izard County inside this tornado warning. So we do have a tornado warning for central parts of Stone County, a very small slither of Izard County, but I would not be surprised to see that that tornado warning extended further to the north and east as it gets closer to Melbourne.
Yeah, I will say it's not in a very favorable environment, but it's working with what it has right now. So we still need to take this seriously and keep our eyes on it as it continues to move to the northeast and about to move right on top of Mountain View right now. So,
and that just kind of tells you a little bit about these storms. They're not in the best environment, but they're trying to spin. So it just shows you that the conditions are there for tornadoes. And as you head further to the east, those conditions, they do get a little bit better as you head into the evening time hours.
yes, and unfortunately, those conditions get better as we get a little farther to the east yet, and we've not even seen development in that part of Region 8 yet. But it is something we're keeping our eye on. We got these 2 tornado warnings right now. The one that you're seeing on your screen for Stone County that officially expires at 6:15. It's possible they extend it to include more of Izard County, but we're waiting on confirmation for that right now. They've not really mentioned it just yet. But we're also watching that storm that's in Butler County and Ripley County right now as well, that area of rotation crossing into Butler County. So I think for the most part, Ripley County is officially out of this area of concern, but we're still seeing that rotation, especially right near Highway 160 and 67, that intersection just north of Neelyville. Continuing to watch that area of rotation there in this storm, continuing to move toward Poplar Bluff. Poplar Bluff, you are in this tornado warning, so if you are hearing us, it is time for you to get inside of your safe space. That's the lowest level, a basement if you have one, an interior room, which means you have as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And remember to cover up your head with a helmet if you have it, or if you don't have a helmet, a pot might look silly, but works just as well.
All right, that rotation's still there at Mountain View. Looking at things behind the scenes also, like you were saying just a bit ago, these storms are forming right on the boundary and then continuing to move north into an environment that is not conducive for these storms to really sustain themselves. It still looks pretty nasty around the Mountain View area right now. In fact, what I'm going to do is zoom back down, straight down to street level into Mountain View. And what you're looking at here, kind of messy looking, but this is the rotation right here. So we're using the radar site out of Little Rock. So that green that you see there, that is the wind coming toward the radar site down in Little Rock. And this right here is going the opposite direction. So this is coming right in to Mountain View. It's starting to hook just a little bit to the right, because at first it kind of looked like it would go to the west of Mountain View. It looked like it was going to cross over Highway 9 right here. And this is 66. But if you notice, it kind of has moved a little bit to the right. Now, keep in mind also, when you're this far away from the radar site, while the rotation may look like it's right here. So don't be fooled into thinking that if you're right here, you're safe. Because that rotation could be tilted. So we're looking at a pretty far up in the storm. Down here at the bottom, what if that rotation's tilted a little bit through the atmosphere? So we're looking at it here, but it might be tilted down in another location. So keep that in mind also. So when you look at this, we don't want to get too cutesy with exactly where this thing is. New scan comes in right now, takes it a little bit farther just to the east of Mountain View.
Yeah, and if the radar is off a little bit or not, it's essentially on top of at least parts of Mountain View. We're seeing a lot of, when you zoom in a little closer, there's a lot of little roads just right there. So that's telling me that's communities where people live. It's very close to the Herpel community, the Sillamore community, Twin Creek, Gaylor, Guyan, I think I might say that. Looking also at NASCO Lone Star outside of this warning officially, but still, like Ryan just said, a very nasty storm, regardless if it was tornado warned or not, heading in that general area toward Izard County right now.
You know, I'm just looking at this, and I'm a little bit more concerned with it than what I was. It's going to be difficult to get a debris signature on this. I know you've watched this a few times now, and so I just click on debris, and you don't see that blue circle there, the debris signature. That doesn't mean that this isn't on the ground, because we're looking so far up into the storm. So let's not get too wrapped up into there. You have to have a pretty strong tornado also to loft it that far up. So as Christina was saying, we need everybody in between Mountain View and Melbourne to be in your tornado safe spot now. They have not extended this into Melbourne yet. That is a flood warning that you see the other side of the polygon. I apologize. Allergies, talking a whole lot for the past really couple of weeks now. I'm going to keep water on standby. Usually don't do that, but just bear with us through the evening hours. I think all three of us are clearing our throats a whole lot, so we're going to get through this. So every now and then I'll just have to take a drink of water. So tell you what, I'm going to put this couplet down there in the lower left-hand corner of the screen. We're going to put another storm trach on it, still moving to the kind of the north-northeast at 60 miles per hour.
Yep, they've not adjusted that at all. I don't know if it's quite moving that fast, but I'd rather say that it's moving a little faster and people have more heads up than saying it's moving a little slower and it sneaks up on them. They're also not saying anything in the National Weather Service chat about them extending this warning. I feel like they're going to, but they haven't mentioned it. At least.
Yeah, they've got more storms they're working on.
They're watching.
Down
there
south.
we go.
But if this holds together, did they issue a new one?
It's just a severe thunderstorm warning.
Severe thunderstorm warning. So this severe thunderstorm is going to be in Melbourne at 6:32, Oxford at 6:41, Horseshoe Bend at 6:46, and Salem at 6:53. Now, as we've been saying a couple of times, the reason that they probably went ahead with the severe thunderstorm warning instead of a tornado warning is going to be because this is going into a different environment. As Jace was saying just a little bit ago, we were going from 82 degrees to 62 degrees on the other side of this boundary. So this storm is going into that cooler environment. So that is probably why we've got that.
We do still have that tornado warning for Butler County right now. That one's not expired just yet.
Okay, let's go into this. Has Paducah said much about this?
Let me check. I've been
lately?
reading the other chat, and nope, they haven't said anything. Just they had that. This was the storm that had the funnel report on it.
Yeah.
And that is the only information they've given since then.
That even looks like it's fallen apart quite a bit. The funnel report was right over here. So if you notice, you can kind of see that the rotation was a little tighter and now it's a little broader here. See, it was kind of narrow through here and it's getting a little broader. So that is some good news.
Yeah.
Also moving into more of a favorable environment for this to weekend. So I think it is a telltale sign. Is this a new severe thunderstorm warning?
If it is, they haven't mentioned it being new in the chat. Let me go ahead and click on this to see if I can figure that out for you.
Because if they issued that after the tornado warning.
At 6:07 is when they issued that. So it's about 8 minutes or 9 minutes old.
Yeah.
But that was after the tornado warning was issued.
Okay, so that might be a sign that they.
I will say what
Still some
Little
strong
Rock
wind
is saying is the same thing that we're saying right now, that it's just moving into an environment that is just really not favorable for tornado development. So they're pretty confident that that's going to be the situation instead of tornadoes, looking just at a severe storm, which still needs to be taken seriously, but we like to see those more than we do a tornado warning for sure. We're also not really getting much information about this storm in Butler County, but its environment is even less favorable than the environment that the Stone County storm's moving out of. So I'm pretty confident that both of these situations are de-escalating.
And just looking at some data behind the scenes here in that area, they're 59 degrees in Poplar Bluff, so that's really a cool environment. So I'm very hopeful that there's not a tornado with this. We haven't had anything outside of a funnel cloud. Ask them if they're going to let this continue on or if they're going to do something else with it. I'd be interested to say. All right. Let's widen out, make sure we're not missing anything now. Got a little bit of something trying to go here. Here's what we're going to have to watch. Little things like this. Now, you might look at this and go, that's nothing, Ryan, but this could be something trying to develop. That's what we're going to have to watch through the next hour or so, just to see, because so far we have been, knock on wood, we had that one storm that kind of went through here, but this is a very unstable atmosphere that just doesn't have the trigger to get something going, and we're okay with that. A lot of the models had 2 or 3 cells forming. One formed, moved out of here. If we can get through, if we can just tiptoe through the evening without anything else outside of these couple little storms that have been causing problems, that would be good. I hope we're that fortunate. And then what we're going to do, you see all the flood warnings starting out back here. Then we're going to start transitioning to a flooding threat. You see all this heavy rain back here. I think it was Jace earlier, it was talking about these severe storms down in southwest Arkansas. Those will start heading our direction also. You notice there's more tornado warnings down there as well. So
The National Weather Service in Paducah said they're going to hold on to this tornado warning for just a little while longer for now. So
well, I think it only has about 7 minutes to go on it anyways.
Yeah, this is true. It expires at 6:30. So usually whenever they get less than 10 minutes, they just let it ride out.
Yeah, they just let it ride out. So we'll watch it. I mean, there's still some really strong wind here, and it's still kind of going in different directions. Remember, we're at the Paducah radar site, so there's the wind going away from it. Here's the wind coming towards it. So there's still rotation there, be it appears to be broader. I would still, if you're in Poplar Bluff, I'd still take cover. If for nothing else, some strong gusty winds, and even the possibility is still there for some hail also.
Yeah, that's one of the hazard types is potentially quarter-sized hail and also 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So that's still a severe thunderstorm, even if we weren't looking at the threat for a tornado.
You know, I'm looking at this a little closer back here. Yeah, I would be a little concerned here. South of 67. Hopefully everybody's taking cover already anyways here in Poplar Bluff. This rotation, give this about another scan or two, and it's going to be outside of the polygon anyway. So they're going to have to make a decision. Is this valuable, or is this valid enough to extend the warning on? I would think this is probably going to be mid-level rotation, not seeing anything at the surface.
And there's just not a whole lot of energy up there either, so it's really not working with a whole lot there. We've got a little bit of spin with high in the atmosphere. We call that wind shear. We have a little bit of that, but that's really the only thing that's driving this storm right now.
All right, just continuing to look at a few things back behind the scenes here.
And just reading in on some chat out of from Springfield on flooding in Howell County. There's been some creeks overflowing in West Plains this afternoon, and I'm just scared. I'm just afraid of all the water having to rush out through Howell County and down into the tributaries that flow into the Spring River. So we're probably gonna have to really keep an eye on that Spring River over the next few hours as more rain continues to fall just to the north of the inlet there at there in Mammoth Spring and flow down the Spring River throughout the night.
And I've been watching that also, as Cass said. I've been watching the levels at the Spring River. It hasn't gone up yet. You said something, yeah.
Yes, we're getting a report from an emergency manager in Butler County saying that there's still a funnel on the south side of Poplar Bluff near Industrial Park.
Okay, so let's take this. Hopefully it stays up there in the mid-levels and doesn't in the Industrial Park. Where at?
South of Poplar Bluff.
South of Poplar Bluff.
Or the south side of Poplar Bluff, so it might be like right near town.
All right, so there must be some kind of tilt to this because there's where the rotation is. So there must be some kind of tilt going to this. So
I'm also kind of curious if you switch and look at just radar, if where we're seeing like that purple kind of noise, if it's almost tilted in the other direction too. See that little? It's not much of one.
Yeah, but let's tell you what. I've got some weather cameras up here I can look at also. And I'll do that.
They haven't mentioned anything else about this storm since that report was mentioned, but if there's a funnel cloud, which there's reports that there is one, that's enough to continue this tornado
Yeah,
warning.
I would too.
I'm curious if they extend it to the northeast, but once it goes north of Poplar Bluff, that's also kind of outside of Region 8 as well. So something that we can still watch, but it's getting a little bit outside of Region 8 at this time.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of the cameras through here, and honestly, I do see a little bit of a lowering that just kind of passed through Poplar Bluff. I'm not sure if I'd exactly call it a funnel, but I was kind of looking back through here also, so we'll have to see. We'll continue to watch that. Because here's the bypass around Poplar Bluff. So it says Poplar Bluff here, but it's kind of up through here. But yeah, if you're in Butler County, they haven't extended it out yet. And here's where it appears to be the rotation. Just stay in your tornado safe spot just a little bit longer. Also notice more flood warnings are popping up back there in Carter County. Got severe thunderstorm warnings, more flood warnings. Keep in mind all this water right here is going to be heading south. That's falling right now. And I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but flooding's going to start transitioning to being our issue. Let's go to Jace for just a minute if we can. Jace is sitting out. I can show you where his location is. There we go. Well, I can try to. Buttons aren't exactly doing what I want them to do. Tell you what, let me slide this table out of the way. I think it's trying to track that. Or not. There we go. Let's go back down to the home view. We'll find you somewhere. Jace is sitting right here in Jackson County. Jace, are you seeing anything developing at all? I see a little cell trying to develop in Independence County, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's what I've been watching, but like you said, we're just lacking the trigger to get these storms to kind of fire up out here, and we're starting. I was looking at some of the data earlier. It looks like we're starting to get a little bit of a lid or a little bit of a capping inversion that we always talk about kind of started to sneak in here. And as we go towards the evening, once we start losing sunlight, we're more than likely going to see that cap strengthen until we get close, until this front with this line of storms kind of gets a little bit closer, and we could have some stuff happen out here as we go towards dark or a little bit after dark, as that better trigger or that better forcing comes in here to try and break that nocturnal cap. But other than that, as I said, we're starting to see maybe a little bit of a lid start to sneak in over this very primed environment for severe weather, which is good news because that's going to really limit the amount of storm coverage, or it could stop storms from going altogether.
That would be great. If we can get through a night with no tornadoes after having a level 4 risk like that, that would be really, really, really good. So here's what we're going to do. Did they drop this warning yet? Keep it.
Not drop it, and the emergency manager said right before we went to Jace that there's still a funnel cloud over Poplar Bluff Senior High near Menards.
Okay.
So they're still seeing something over there, but they're not saying anything about extending it. Maybe they're drawing it up. Maybe
Let me look in.
they are looking at the environment and questioning if it can sustain itself farther than that.
Yeah.
I'm almost kind of curious if this is kind of a cold air funnel too.
Yeah, it's funny you say. I was just sitting here thinking that also, and I'm looking to see if I have any tweets or anything.
Yeah,
from that
I've been trying to keep
area.
up with Twitter, and I'm not getting anything out of the Poplar Bluff area. I'm also not getting any reports on Facebook either. The only thing I'm hearing about this storm is from an emergency manager in that area right now. So.
All right. I'm looking more. Hold on.
But we're continuing to watch this storm. If you're in Poplar Bluff, there are reports of a funnel cloud.
Yep.
That's enough to go ahead and get into your safe space. And it's continuing to slowly travel to the north as it's getting closer to cross Highway 60. It's going to eventually head toward an area between Williamsville and Duck Creek. Not really seeing any community names there. That's officially outside of the warning. So is Loma Linda and Hilliard and Wilby, Hendrickson. You guys are not in that warning right now. You do have a severe thunderstorm warning for you, but we are not seeing that tornado warning. However, still a good idea to go ahead and get into your safe space, even for a severe thunderstorm warning with the capabilities of producing 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-sized hail. That's not something you want to be outside for. That's not something you want to be near a window trying to look out at this. Definitely don't want to be outside for this in any situation. So it's a good idea to go ahead and get into your safe spot, even though we haven't gotten any reports of a tornado on the ground. We do have reports of a funnel, and it should be taken seriously.
All right, so the funnel cloud report remains that we've been seeing here in Poplar Bluff. They have not extended this farther along, though. So to give you an idea of what the movement is on this, there's the storm, and it's kind of two storms. This little storm started to come in on it, interacting with it. You see that? Mm-hmm. Merging together. See that really well in the loop there. Let's go back to the severe thunderstorm warning for a minute back in Stone Nizzard County. I saw a picture of this storm. This thing looks really nasty. Still has some gusty winds. Don't see anything too concerning as far as a tornado is concerned, but probably some really gusty winds, and it looks like a lot of heavy rain is continuing there also. Mm-hmm. Widening back out, we got more severe storms that are back outside of Region 8, starting to clip parts of Stone County, but not a tornado warning, so that is good. We're going to stick with this tornado warning in Butler County. They just issued a new one there. They're making these polygons really, really small for this warning, though, I've noticed. How long does this one go to?
Let me check. I will say this storm's moving very slowly. The last one was warned at only 30 miles an hour. This one is moving a little faster at 35 miles an hour to the northeast. It goes until 7 o'clock. So It's not a very large polygon. It's moving pretty slow.
The interesting thing, does it say where it's located?
It's saying, let me see.
Because the reports are coming in the middle of town, and really on radar, it looks like it's sitting out here on Highway 67.
A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Poplar Bluff, moving northeast at 35 miles an hour. Weather spotters reported funnel cloud near Poplar Bluff. And someone else also came into the group 3 minutes ago and said that they spotted rotation on 60 and 67 in Poplar Bluff as well.
That's it then. That's 60s. That's it right here. So it's showing up on radar. Mm-hmm. So we need everybody to. It's interesting when you get a funnel cloud report also is that wherever they're standing, they can see the funnel cloud. Mm-hmm. They may be south of town. They say, I'm south of town, I see a funnel cloud when they're looking at it back to the west. So reports are a little conflicting also. A little messy on radar, but and I'll tell you something else. As that cell merges with this, if you look at radar, and you know we talk about hooks all the time, we could easily have the funnel sitting right here where we're seeing some rotation, but you notice that we're starting to have this hook down here and this little inflow notch here. If you look at wind, and go back over to the wind, we've got something here. We've had the report here, but we got something that's trying to develop down there also.
Mm-hmm. These storms are moving into an area with a lot of shear, so they're probably just spinning just around anyways on their own.
Yeah. So everybody in Poplar Bluff needs to remain in their storm safe spot right now, just a little longer.
Someone, the emergency manager in Butler County is working on trying to get somebody to share a video with them, and then maybe we can get a little bit of a better idea of where exactly this funnel is once we can get eyes on that as well.
I'll tell you this, I'm looking at a picture from there. Somebody just tweeted me a picture, and definitely some scary looking clouds going on there.
Let me see. Oh yeah. It looks angry out there for sure. And again, even if this wasn't a tornado warning, you still have that severe thunderstorm warning. This is a strong storm you don't want to be outside in. It's always a good idea, and kind of the classic saying, when thunder roars, go indoors. That's kind of the situation that we're seeing right now. We do have reports of a funnel, reports of rotation with this storm north of Poplar Bluff. We're going to continue to watch this storm as it's continuing to move albeit slowly, 35 miles an hour to the northeast. I'm going to go ahead and try to put a storm track on this, but as Ryan's mentioned, there are a couple areas of rotation with this. I'm going to go on the one that's farthest to the north, so we can kind of get everybody a little bit of a head start, or even though it's going to be leaving parts of that polygon in just a few minutes. So a pretty broad area of rotation right around here, continuing to move to the northeast, and I didn't make this large enough, I think. Okay, that's 40, 36 is close enough. Looking at Wapapello at 646, McGee at 703, which is officially outside the extension of this warning, and also at Zalma at 716. So a lot of these places not even in that polygon right now, but I'm going to go ahead and do another one for this second area of rotation that's kind of on the backside of this storm, and then drag that one out as well for about 35 miles an hour. That's going to include Green Forest at 636, Loma Linda at 640, Hilliard at 643. This warning expires at 7 o'clock. Also keep in mind the time at the corner of the screen. We've got hours, minutes, and seconds. If you're watching us on stream, which a lot of us in Butler County will do that because I'm not sure that our antenna and signal can go quite that far on its own, there's probably a little bit of a delay. So look at your phone, look at your watch, see what time it is, and match that up to the time that you're seeing on the screen, because you might be 2, 3, 4 minutes behind what we're actually seeing. So that's why we give times of arrival and not so much how much more time you have, because it might not quite add up. So again, Green Forest 636, Loma Linda at 640, and Hilliard at 643. That's where this area of circulation is heading toward at this time. We do have eyes on a storm that is producing a funnel cloud. So it's not on the ground, it's not a tornado, but we have a tornado warning because the ingredients are there, and we're seeing evidence of that because of the funnel cloud. So again, an interior room, the lowest level if you have one. If you're in the northern half of Butler County, you do not want to be outside right now. You don't want to try to see this storm. You don't want to try to look out of your window even. You want to be in an interior room as far away from walls and windows as you can be in the lowest level of your home right now for your safety.
Yeah, it's only 59 degrees up there right now, so it's a very cold environment. I tell you, I'm looking, like you did just a minute ago, if you look at, I think the center of the storm, the centroid of the storm, the whole thing is rotating here. And I think that was the initial rotation. The high school sits right here, Menards sits right through here. So they were probably looking at that funnel cloud going through there. But, you know, if you look at radar now that these cells have merged, you've got the hook sitting back through here. So we could be dealing with something different. But had rotation, it looks like, I think that rotation probably went right here. And the high school sits here. So I wonder if somebody was sitting here looking back towards the storm. That would match up with radar a little bit. And then these cells started merging. And now we're starting to get this little hook here on the back side of this. And if you notice,
we've got a new radar scan that's looking a little bit more obvious now.
Yeah. And so now it appears that we've got something going on right in the middle of town. We may have a funnel coming right through the middle of town right now.
Mm-hmm. And I do think it's with that southern part of the storm we were watching. That northern part of the storm might just be the entire
the mesocyclone
storm
itself.
Yeah.
And it could have been initially, that's where we were getting the funnel cloud.
But as those two storms were merging, it probably started up this second rotation that we're seeing now.
And I'm checking Twitter also. We've got a lot of Twitter folks up in that area, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. But I'll probably
I'm not seeing very much new information there or on Facebook.
Here it is, 2 minutes ago. Funnel aloft on the north edge of Poplar Bluff city limits by trained spotter from emergency manager Craig Metter. So, you know, you look at that, and once again, are they standing here and looking at it down here? Nonetheless, there's a funnel somewhere. So if you're in the polygon through here, let's go ahead and make sure that you're in your tornado safe spot. Whether it can make it down to the ground or not,
yes,
not sure.
So it's still a strong looking storm,
Yeah.
albeit not in the best environment. So
Yeah.
it's kind of surprising if we're quite honest. But we still want to take it seriously. If we're in the northern half of Butler County, what we're seeing right now is a tornado warning that's going to expire at 7 o'clock. So we've got just over 20 minutes left with this warning. We're going to watch it closely. It looks like we had two storms trying to merge, and almost always there are only two options that can happen. When they try to merge, one wins and becomes stronger, or they try to merge and they both fight so much that they both weaken.
Yeah.
What we're seeing right now is maybe just a little bit one of those storms trying to win over.
Yeah, I'd say so. All right, tornado warning continues for Poplar Bluff. We're going to stick with you for a little bit, but at the same time, we're also going to look back to the west. Numerous flood warnings are starting to come out through here. A lot of flood warnings are going to start coming through here now as kind of the training of storms starts to come in. Severe thunderstorm warning continues also for the northern parts of Oregon County. And the severe thunderstorm warning continues down in the Mountain View area also. That threat of the severe storm has now moved to the probably to the east of Mountain View now, but you've got more severe thunderstorm warnings coming in from the southwest.
Hey Ryan, we got a picture of
go.
this. I don't think I have permission to share. It's just in the
Okay.
chat, but I'll be honest, I'm not really seeing the funnel. It kind of looks like Scud to me.
Yeah. Okay, is that coming in off of the chat service?
Yeah, the emergency management.
All right, let's see.
So, still a strong storm, a violent storm, but now we're getting eyes on it and trying to figure out what exactly we're looking at right now. And sometimes Scud can just as easily look like rotation in a
Yeah.
strong storm, so it's also a little harder to tell if it's not super obvious with a still image.
Yeah, that's true also. You can't see the rotation in it. So a lot of heavy rain through here. We're going to go back to, we got this one small tornado warning continuing for Butler County. As soon as it goes outside of Poplar Bluff, that's going to be moving outside of Region 8. We're going to stick with it right now. Still some really strong gusty winds here and a scary looking sky. Funnel or not, that looked like some very ominous looking stuff there. So this is still right on top of Poplar Bluff. They have not extended this over into Stoddard County yet. They're probably going to see exactly what this thing does after they all kind of merge together. But it still has that little appendage hanging off on the bottom side of this.
Yeah, which may or may not be an appendage. It might be two separate storms that are just kind of very close to each other, and it looks like they are. So, but it also could be an appendage. This is a funny storm in a strange environment where there's a lot of spin, but there's not a lot of energy. And since we have that moisture there, we're seeing the rain. Sometimes that rain can just spin around, and it looks like we might be seeing some broad rotation, even some tighter rotation, but there might not be anything necessarily tornadic about it, because a lot of these storms are capable of spinning today, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are tornadic storms. We are getting a new radar scan on that storm, though, and I'm curious if the wind just, you could still see something there, but it's just, I don't think it's exactly
I don't think we have the
lining
new
up
one
where it
loaded
needs
in
to
here
be.
just yet.
Yeah. If that catches up, maybe, but
Yeah, that's not matching up at all right now, because you can see the new radar scan has this moving to the northeast of Poplar Bluff now. Okay, there it is. I mean, if there's something there, it's like up in this area, but it just doesn't look that impressive.
it's really not that
But
impressive.
I mean, we have eyes on it, so I'm sure if there were a tornado, they would immediately tell us, and they're not yet. So.
Yes. Still a strong storm nonetheless.
Yep.
So we're still watching that. I'm curious what the National Weather Service of Paducah does with this image that they have now, and if they're trying to figure out if this is rotating or if it's just an angry looking cloud.
And it's moving pretty slow also. I mean, if you notice, there's not a ton of movement on this. You have the appendage down, and then it goes back up through here. If you're in Duck Creek, north of Ash Hill, stay in your tornado safe spot now. I think Poplar Bluff's in the clear now.
Yeah.
It looks like, well, at least everybody except maybe the eastern side there. If there's anything, it's sitting right here, crossing over Highway 60 and then moving on. All right, let's widen out, make sure we're not missing anything right now. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for parts of Fulton County, Stone and Izard County. Flash flood warnings are all along this also. Rain's moving into Ash Flat. There is some eastward movement somewhat of this coming in. Somewhat. And that would be good so that you don't get the same storms going over the same locations over and over again. Got some spotty showers continuing through parts of Randolph County, parts of Ripley County, but the tornado warning is right there. So we're going to stick with it. How many more minutes are left on this?
It expires at 7, so we've got roughly 17 minutes left. We've also got a video again in the chat, so I'm going to just kind of watch this behind the scenes to see if I can see anything rotating on this, and maybe a little, but it's, yeah. There's certainly some turbulence there.
Yeah.
So.
And so that's what's going through kind of north. Okay, I'm going to look at the video also.
But it's just not the most obvious thing in the world by any means.
Gotcha. All right, so we're going to stick with it. It's not moving a whole lot. It's from Poplar Bluff into the northeastern parts of Butler County. You know, we still haven't had any reports on this. It's about to, as soon as it moves completely out of the city limits of Poplar Bluff, we're going to rejoin regular programming, hand this off to our sister station, KFVS out of Cape Girardeau. And then we're going to continue watching to the west. And really, we're going to have to start checking the river levels also. They haven't said anything else about it, and it does look like it's crossing out of the city limits. So tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to get a wide perspective here. We're going to watch these severe thunderstorm warnings back to the west, make sure that they do not start spinning. We have meteorologist Jace Passmore right there. He'll keep us updated on anything. Also, we're behind the scenes watching the rivers, make sure they're going to go up. But we're going to watch and see when they start going up. And hopefully we can get through the night without any more tornado warnings. That would be really nice. I'm not confident enough in giving the all clear yet. Not confident that we're not going to see some stuff develop through here. But for right now, we are going to rejoin regular programming. And if we need to break back in for tornado warnings, we will. I don't think we'll have to break in for flooding. That's probably going to be something that might happen tomorrow. But for now, we're going to go back to regular programming. We're going to keep an eye on these storms back to the west, and we'll keep you updated.